In a recent interview with Fight Hype, Canelo Alvarez said he would not fight Mexican fighters. Some people have a problem with that statement, and I do as well. As a world-class fighter, how can you say you will not fight fighters of certain ethnicities? Let's find out in this video, so make sure you stick with me to the end. So without any further delay, let's get into the video. How was the trilogy between Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin born? The story of a hot rivalry. After their second fight in September 2018, Canelo refused to do the trilogy against Kazakh for personal reasons. But on the eve of May 7th fight against the Russian Dmitry Bivol, the Mexican changed his mind. The third clash with GGG was agreed on within the three-fight contract that the redhead signed with the promoter Matchroom Boxing. The first was the clash with Bivol. Canelo told the Sporting News in April that the truth is that he already fought GGG and the second one. They won well, and that he personally thought he was never going to fight him anymore. But well, this deal was given, and it will be the third. And this fight is for the people who want to see it. Alvarez ended up losing to Dmitry by unanimous decision in a fight in which the World Boxing Association (WBA) light heavyweight title was at stake. Despite the fact that the man from Jalisco initially declared that he would seek an immediate revenge fight against the Russian, his plan to resume his rivalry with Golovkin continued in the end. On May 23rd at a press conference, Canelo discussed the possibility that his next opponent would be GGG, since they already had that contract, that agreement, so they have to continue what they started. In any case, he did not rule out another fight with the Russian, who won against him. Quite the opposite. He thinks they're the two most important fights in boxing, the fight with Golovkin and the rematch with Bivol, because unfortunately, while they lost, that doesn't matter. He further stated that it meant not going to try again for him. The important thing here is perseverance, and they're going to do it again. How did it all start? The history of the trilogy between Canelo and Golovkin. Before stepping into the ring for the first fight of their rivalry in May 2017, Canelo and GGG had already traded blows. In May 2011, the two conducted a sparring session in the mountains of Big Bear, California, when both were just making their way into Major League Boxing. Alvarez was 20 years old and had just won the World Boxing Council super welterweight title, 154 pounds. Golovkin, for his part, and the WBA middleweight champion, 160 pounds. After this initial meeting, their paths would cross again in 2015, after Alvarez beat Puerto Rican Miguel Cotto to snatch the WBC middleweight title from him. His first mandatory opponent was the Kazakh, however, being ordered by the body to face GGG under his terms in May 2016. The redhead opted to leave his crown on the table and postpone what was already seen as a mega fight. After much consideration, Canelo instructed his team to continue negotiating a fight with Gennady Golovkin, and also to finalize a deal as soon as possible. At the same time, he informed the WBC that he was going to vacate his. However, a year later, just after beating his compatriot Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Alvarez finally made his first duel with Golovkin official. Both bouts were contested at a high level of boxing, and both had controversial outcomes. Next, Canelo versus Golovkin won. In the first confrontation, GGG started the fight without much urgency. Alvarez looked more active and effective in the first rounds. However, from the fifth round onwards, the Kazakh began to take over the action, and he harassed Canelo and then backed him up, putting him on the ropes several times. The redhead found a way to escape though, but did little offensively to counter Golovkin's better boxing and fury. In the end, the judges ruled that the result was a split tie, 118-110, 113-115, and 114-114. Many clearly saw GGG win though, and now Canelo versus Golovkin 2. The rematch between the Mexican and the Kazakh were originally scheduled for May 2018, but had to be postponed to September due to Alvarez testing positive for clenbuterol in an anti-doping test. In this second confrontation, GGG started in a more aggressive way. He set up his powerful jab right away. However, Alvarez imposed the conditions of the fight. He forced Golovkin to fight in the middle of the ring, and although he took several clean hits, the redhead was accurate with his counterpunches, and he also went to the front, unleashing power shots. He hammered it with body shots. In the end, the judges gave Canelo the victory by majority decision, 114-114, 115-113, 115-113. On this occasion, many thought that the result of the combat had been a draw. Since then, he has fought Eastern Europeans, including Gennady Golovkin, who held the middleweight title for a long time, Caleb Plant and Daniel Jacobs from the United States, Rocky Fielding, Callum Smith, and Billy Joe Saunders from England. Avni Yildirim from Turkey and Bivol and Sergey Kovalev from Russia are also some of the opponents he has fought, but the controversy still remains. Why would Canelo Alvarez refuse to fight other Mexicans? If a Mexican fighter had the belt in the super middleweight division, would Canelo be undisputed right now? Would Canelo have chosen not to chase greatness if David Benavidez, who is half Mexican Ecuadorian, had the WBC title? What if Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence or Tank Davis or Devin Haney or Gary Russell Jr. all said that they won't fight black fighters? What if Caleb Plant, Artur Beterbiev, Joe Smith Jr., Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk all said they won't fight white fighters? We would not know who the best fighters are in the sport of boxing. How can a fighter choose not to fight another fighter based on his ethnicity? What if a Mexican fighter becomes Canelo's mandatory? Will he drop the belt and refuse to fight him? The can of worms Canelo is opening up here is huge. If every fighter were to go by Canelo's logic, then other Mexican fighters will not fight each other. I guess Ramirez is as confused as I am. When asked by the USA Sports Today, he said that as a fighter, he wants to fight with the best, anyone at all, but the best. He went further to say that he doesn't know why Canelo wouldn't want to fight a Mexican. Ramirez also made it known that he will be getting his American citizenship next month. Next up, Canelo Golovkin 3. Depending on his choice, Alvarez may face 3-belt Russian champion Artur Beterbiev at 175 pounds, maybe a 168-pound fight against Houston's unbeaten middleweight champion Jermall Charlo, or undefeated David Benavidez, who previously held the 168-pound title. First, he will fight Golovkin, an opponent he knows better than any other in his career. Now, as Alvarez is nearing the end of his third training camp for Golovkin, he knows exactly what he's in for after watching 24 rounds of hard-hitting boxing go by without either fighter being knocked out. Most simply, one must recognize that the stakes of the battle have once again become extraordinarily high. Alvarez, 32, is aware that his sworn enemy has turned 40 and has been marked up by weaker opponents since their rematch in 2018. In other news, trilogy fight between Juan Francisco Estrada and Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez has been scheduled for December. On Saturday night, Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing revealed that Juan Francisco Gallo Estrada and Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez will fight again on December 3rd for the Super Flyweight Championship. A March fight was postponed after Estrada contracted the coronavirus. Estrada, 32, returned to his native Mexico on Saturday with a tougher-than-expected decision victory over Argi Cortez to retain the WBC Franchise Championship at 115 pounds. Now, Estrada heads to decider with Gonzalez, a rivalry that began 10 years ago. Gonzalez earned a unanimous decision victory over Estrada in 2012 to retain the 108-pound title. Estrada got revenge in the March 2021 rematch at 115 pounds, but the split decision win was marred by controversy. They combined for 2,529 punches in the comeback fight that was an ESPN finalist for Fight of the Year. After Estrada defeated Cortez, he is now ready to challenge Chocolatito. The Mexican Juan Francisco Gallo Estrada defeated his compatriot Argi Cortez this Saturday by unanimous vote and was ready to face the Nicaraguan Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. In an emotional fight at super flyweight, Estrada, 32, took ratings in favor of 115-112, 115-112, 114-113, thanks to his better performance in the second half of the fight. Estrada will seek to fight Chocolatito, whom he beat last year after losing in 2012. If he beats the Nicaraguan, he will seek all the world titles in the super flyweight division in 2023, with the idea of later trying to reign in the weight roster. So that concludes today's video. If you found the video helpful, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to share the video with your friends and family. Also, let me know in the comment section what you think of Canelo Alvarez's refusal to fight other Mexicans. Thanks for watching. See you next time.